Hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in today. While the overall U.S. economy is looking quite robust and resilient, there are many worrying signs that something is not right with the broader economic picture. One of those signs is the number of business bankruptcies, which has been steadily rising since early 2023. And recently it spiked notably. Business bankruptcies don't happen overnight. They are usually the result of months or even years of poor management, overexpansion, and lack of profitability. So the spike in recent months signals that companies are really struggling now more than ever before. In today's video, I will share the latest numbers with you, and we will discuss what this means for our economy and our wallets. If you want to stay up to date on current events, make sure that you subscribe and turn on video notifications. I would love to have you back for my next one tomorrow, where I will be covering the breaking news on the US dollar. You definitely don't want to miss that. All right, let's go through these numbers. This is a chart of the total number of non-farm businesses that filed for bankruptcy. We can see that the spike happened in August. It was a 31% increase compared to July. More than 400 companies filed for bankruptcy last month. The number of bankruptcies is still on the rise. The trend is your money and your savings are not safe in a traditional bank. In fact, if things continue to deteriorate, you may lose everything, just like the people of Lebanon found out the hard way. By the way, if you haven't watched my video on Lebanon yet, you should definitely check it out here. These are very important lessons that we must learn from their mistakes. So why are so many companies filing for bankruptcy right now? I would argue that they have simply exhausted all of their cash reserves. When COVID-19 lockdowns were lifted, demand for certain products and services skyrocketed. Consumers went on a spending spree. There was also a massive amount of pent-up demand from 2 years of the pandemic. Many businesses took advantage of that and raised prices. But now consumers are tapped out. They are no longer buying at the same pace, and companies are left with excess inventory, which they cannot sell. Another reason why businesses are struggling right now is because they expanded rapidly during the pandemic. Many of them received forgivable loans under the Paycheck Protection Program, which allowed them to keep their staff on payroll, even though they weren't generating any revenue. Once the funds ran out, they were left with no choice but to lay off employees. That, of course, led to labor shortages. Businesses that were already struggling prior to the pandemic ended up closing their doors for good. All of these bankruptcies, of course, have an impact on regular people such as you and me. For example, when a major retailer files for bankruptcy, you may find yourself without your favorite brand on the shelves. Think about the recent collapse of Bed, Bath & Beyond. Do you remember this company? Well, this household goods retailer was a staple in many Americans' lives. Unfortunately, it didn't survive the recent economic turmoil. Its stock price collapsed from over $70 per share in the early 2000s to just a few dollars per share in the past year. On June, the company announced that it would close all of its stores and would begin liquidation. Liquidation sales began on July and are expected to run for approximately 10 to 12 weeks. Bankruptcies like this affect millions of Americans who have lost their jobs and millions of investors who have lost their entire life savings. Bed, Bath & Beyond wasn't alone. J. Crew, Pier, Imports, Tuesday Morning, Things Remembered, Steinmart, Payless, Shoes, and many others have gone bankrupt in recent years. As you can see, the list is long. Now, some of you may be wondering, is this the beginning of the Great Depression era type of situation? Not quite yet, but the risk is definitely elevated. So far, only 286 companies have filed for bankruptcy. That is a big deal. Prior to 2023, the average was less than 200. But keep in mind, the United States has over 31 million registered businesses. So the 286 is really just a tiny fraction of the whole. Nonetheless, I will definitely continue monitoring the situation closely. If you want to know more about how the banking crisis may affect you, make sure that you watch this video next. I will see you there.